Welcome, Destiny Christian Church. So glad to be with you today. And I want to talk to you today, just a brief 5-minute devotional on focusing on the principle before the person. And years ago, I used to have a radio broadcast that I called Principles to Live By. This was in the 90s. And at that time, it was a good idea. I thought, hey, good ideas to live by. But as years went by, I realized that it's possible for a person to know principles without knowing Jesus. And we never want to give the idea of people that if you just read these 3 steps or say the sinner's prayer or read this book that you'll be a Christian. Jesus never said anything of the sort. He said, follow me. That implies a whole reorientation of your life to him. And so do you know just the Bible principles or do you know Jesus? And this is a question I want to chew on just for a few minutes. And we live in a how-to culture. The last time we talked about how that during Moses' time, they said, hey, let's make our own God. So that's, get it done culture, but it's also a how-to culture. And what leads me to say this is, have you ever noticed on YouTube, which can be wonderful for projects, when you have a project, just go to YouTube and you'll have step-by-step, how many channels, YouTube channels, are all about how-to? Which I think is wonderful because almost every week I'm using it for something, or I'm looking something up for technology that when I fix computers or something, and there's always someone who did it. And but there are thousands of YouTube channels on how to, and many Christian books on how to, which can be good, and some of them we need, right? We need to know how to, right? That's part of discipleship. However, before we get to the how to, do I know him? That's the whole point of what I'm saying today. Because any of us can extract an idea without knowing the person who wrote it. And one of the writers that I've been reading who wrote a book on the Beatitudes was notorious for this. He just saw, the Beatitudes as just extract, blessed are the poor, and just live by that principle, and you'll be a good Christian, and that's it. And there was no sense of that Jesus is behind all this. Do you know him? And this is what I mean by how to can replace do you know. And there's always a danger of finding the principle without the person. And what it produces is that there's no power in it. There's no life in it. There's no real purpose in it. There's no change in it. There's no transforming value in that kind of approach to God. And how can we expect to live Christ's requirements, right? His kingdom requirements, if Christ is not living in us, if we're focusing more on how to get it done instead of knowing him, who you are. And this is why I would suggest strongly that if you ever have any questions about this, read John 15. John 15 is the chapter in the New Testament that talks about the key to this, that all the how-tos mean nothing if you don't understand John 15. John 15 is the story about the vine and the branches. And if you know the story, Jesus said, I'm the vine and you're the branches. And it's that simple. And he says, abide in me. In other words, I can't be the vine. He's the vine. I can only be a branch. And as long as I am attached to him, as long as I'm connected to him, I'll know the how-to and I'll be able to do the how-to. But if I try to do the how-to without being connected to him, then I'm just a great moral person that's really nice, but has no real life in them. And so Jesus wants all of us to know him. He wants all of us to be filled with his life because we're attached to him. And that's why Paul said that I may know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings. So till next time, so great being with you. And check out the website, destinychristianniagara.com. Check out the YouTube channel, and which you can access through the website. And also check out the Facebook just to stay in touch. Until next time, thanks so much. God bless.